Good morning, friends. This session is dedicated to class 12, and we are going to just discuss and unfold the feminist issue raised by, Andrew Rich in the poem on Jennifer's Tigers. Well, on Jennifer's Tiger is a beautiful exhibition of feminist concern by the poet Andrew Rich. In the poem and Jennifer's Tiger, the poet has brought out the issue of male dominance in the patriarchal and chauvinistic society. And Jennifer's represents the women all over the world. And in this poem, the poet has tried to bring out the conflict and you know torture that a woman has to go through in this chauvinistic society. And Jennifer, the protagonist of this poem, is symbolic of all the women all over the world. She is the victim of oppression at the hands of male chauvinistic society. She is seeking freedom from her martial bond. So, this poem is going to talk about the feminist issue that a society has always faced right from time immemorial. The male chauvinistic society has always oppressed the woman. So, this poem is all about the conflict and the torture that a woman has to go through in order to abide by the martial responsibility. After the marriage, a woman has to carry through all her duty and responsibility, and she doesn't exercise any sort of freedom in the male chauvinistic society. So, this poem is a cry against the male dominance and the burden of marriage on the shoulder of a woman. Let us talk about the very first stanza. On Jennifer's tigers prance across a screen, bright topaz denizens of a world of green. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. They prance in sleek, chivalric certainty. On Jennifer's tiger prance and move across a screen or a panel. The poet, describes them as bright colored, like the, shining golden yellow jewel topaz. So how have the tigers created by and Jennifer been described? They have been described as bright golden colored, you know, yellow, shining topaz. They are just like yeah, they are just like the shining, bright shining, you know, topaz. These tigers move about with grace, elegance, and confidence. The tigers created by Jennifer's move about with confidence, elegance, and with freedom. They move along with freedom. They prance with elegance, confidence, and grace. So they look graceful while they move. On Jennifer's tiger are not real, but they have been created by Jennifer herself, but they have been the representative of Jennifer's cry for freedom. They just represent the dream and desire of Aunt Jennifer. They are images created by her own tapestry. Aunt Jennifer, who is held, captive by the oppressive hand of a patriarchal society, creates in her own, alternative world of freedom. The tigers represent her dream, desire, her, her conflict from constraints of operations that is due to the martial bond. And similarly, in the second stanza, the poet has tried to highlight on Jennifer's, creating beautiful image of the tigers by using wool, but she is quite, and but she finds it is quite difficult for her to pull even the ivory wool because her fingers flutter due to fear. The uncle's wedding band seems to be too heavy on her that she is unable to carry out the burden, and thus she is not able to feel the freedom while carrying out the bond of martial responsibility. Through this stanza, the poet wants to convey the fact that the woman throughout her life has to go through different conflict and different struggle in order to glorify her tiger, that means her husband. And despite glorifying her husband, she still remains uncared and unconcerned and feels like a burden. The the band of marriage is just like a burden on her soldier, and she has to carry all throughout her life that very burden. Therefore, this poem beautifully reflects the feminist concern of the poet that a woman throughout her life is always hungry of freedom from the martial bond that is due to marriage. She has to carry through all the difficulties and struggle in order to make her husband happy. And while carrying out her responsibility, she doesn't have any freedom because this patriarchal and chauvinistic male dominant society doesn't give any freedom to a woman to exercise her own desire. So the tigers created by Jennifer are just a representation of her desire and her will to get freedom from this, world of the patriarchal world of chauvinistic world of male dominant society. And that is the reason why she has created beautiful, shining golden, tigers, just like the shining golden topaz. They are bright colored. They move about with grace, elegance, and confidence. They have no fear from the people standing beneath the tree. They are free to exercise and go anywhere. They prance with confidence, grace. They are not like the tigers that have been made captive in the zoo. So all her dreams and imagination to get freedom from this chauvinistic male dominant society has been reflected in this poem very beautifully, and that's what I wanted to highlight. Thank you, my dear friends. This is Edising on the channel Easy English by Edising.